get those statements suppressed. But what I want you to remember, under the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, you have a right against self-incrimination. And what I would urge every person who's ever arrested that exercise that Fifth Amendment right is very simple. All you have to say, I don't have anything to say, I will speak to my lawyer. It's that simple. And all questioning stop because at that time you exercise your right to the Fifth Amendment. As I close, I want to let you know in Georgia there are certain offenses called the 7 deadly sins. Meaning that there are certain offenses that as an individual, as an adult or a juvenile, if you're charged, there are mandatory minimums that the judge must give you. One of them, for instance, is something called armed robbery. If in fact you commit armed robbery in the state of Georgia, the sentence is 10 to 20 life or death. But the judge by law has to give you a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison. Why do I say that? Because in the state of Georgia, if you're at least 13 years of age, under Senate Bill 440, you can be charged as an adult and receive that same type of penalty. So as I go in my seat, just wanted to let you know the Fourth Amendment deals with unreasonable search and seizures. The Fifth Amendment deals with your right against self-incrimination. Know that you never give consent as it relates to searching your vehicle. There are exceptions as far as search incidents to lawful arrest, plain view, and if there's a strong odor of marijuana in your mind. Have a nice day.
This evening, let's give him another hand. We thank all of you for coming. This is the first for V-103 and WAOK. There will be more. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan Cameron.
Thank you, Chris, you can't leave. No, because now we got questions from the audience. But let me say this. This is our third stop. We asked 2 other places. One is very well known. The other was totally empty. I said, we want to come over there and have a meeting. And they said, when? I said, Wednesday or Thursday. They said, we are available. And then I said, good. And then they texted me back and they said, what is it about? The verdict? And I said, yes. It became unavailable. How does that happen? Lorraine Jacques-White, Reverend R.L. White, this is their church. They changed the entire agenda to let us come in this building. I want to give you a round of applause. I'm sorry, I should have asked you first. Building under renovation is all of a sudden booked. Child, please. Brother Sidney Wood from News Talk 1380 WAOK and Cynthia from our news department. Well, now we have 10 minutes of questions for our Let Us Make Man panel, our esteemed lawyers. We got another car, a Mercedes C300. It's great, and you got a 30-day tag. We know we're in the black community now. If we was in the real black community, it would say, tag applied for. Well, everybody else trying to act like we had a tag applied for on a piece of cardboard. You gotta move your meds, or they will move it for you. And we try to come together as a community. Let's see what happens if somebody needs a jump when we leave. Real talk. Questions, Brother Sidney?
Yes, sir. Ryan Cameron, we have a question for the legal department from Patrice.
Hi, good evening. Actually, I have a question and one quick statement. The attorney that just sat down, one of the things that my poli-sci teacher told me a long time ago for us to remember was that our laws are protected in the court of law, not in the court of streets. So if we feel like something is taking place that isn't right on the street, that's not the time to dispute it or fight it. the young men should handle it? Thank you.
Sure. The Fourth Amendment still applies. However, when the officer stops you, initially he must have something called reasonable suspicion. However, there is something in the law where the officer can do what's called consensual encounters, meaning that the officer have not involved you, seen you doing anything illegal. However, under those instances, you're free to walk away. You can ask, am I free to go? Also, why are you stopping me? What is the reason for you holding me? But when you are, in fact, confronted, it should be reasonable suspicion, and the young men should not act in a violent manner. You should not do anything to escalate it. And the thing is, what I would say, if it's a first tier, am I free to leave? Yes or no. If he says you're not free to leave, then at that time he must have some type of reasonable suspicion. And your professor is absolutely correct. Well, we always say that on the street, that is not the time for you to fight it. You fight it in court. Because even the officer will say, you may beat the rat, but you won't beat the rider.
We also have this handout in the section that deals with how to deal with the police. So we want you to have something you can physically take with you to read over how to deal with the police, which Chris and Brother Bodie and a couple of other lawyers, Marcus, so put together so that we know how to interact with law enforcement.
I had a question regarding the mandatory minimum laws that you spoke of before. Primarily, I don't know where it is. Marissa Alexander, I don't know if you heard of a situation where she was defending herself against an abusive husband and she fired a warning shot. My best friend, 2 years ago, me and his family lost him with a U.S. airman. Same thing, he was attacked by a group of men outside of a party, fired a warning shot, and he had been sentenced for 25 years in prison. He's still in prison now. What advice can you give us who are fighting the laws now that are stacked against us?
First of all, the mandatory minimum that we see, everything has increased since the Republicans have been in office in Georgia. The laws have just gotten even tougher. There was a time that you could get parole on certain things. That time is over. And so I believe you have to work, while we're working within the system, we have to work with Senator Vincent Ford and other elected officials to try to get the laws changed. Most of us don't even know when they go to session. And so we have to get engaged. We encourage you, we've listed organizations that on this panel, we encourage everyone in here to get in an organization. There's no power in being an individual. That's the only way we can get some of these laws changed, because if not, the judge will tell you his hands are tied. We have the DA will say, my hands are tied. It's what's happening under the gold dome that we have to be actively engaged in, among other things, but that takes organization.
Nathaniel is 28 years old, lives in Atlanta by way of Arizona.
My question was, how do we affect the mainstream media? Because kids nowadays, they know MTV, they know BET, they don't know the NAACP or some of the organizations that you had up there. And when you turn on BET, you see Minister Society running over and over again. You see Compton, you see different things that are not uplifting to our community. So how can we change that? How can we change the music? How can we change the essence of who we are in mainstream media? Because we get stereotyped so much because of
I gotta answer that one. I've been in BET for like ever, and I always get asked this question. You or people are called consumers. When you say something's not cool anymore, people stop doing it. I mean, people in here used to have, I don't know, crisscross clothes or acid wash jeans or black medallions. When it wasn't cool anymore, you stopped doing it. There used to be a black power movement in music, Public Enemy, Jungle Brothers. There used to be all of that. When it got uncool, people stopped doing that. There was the bling bling dynasty. Everybody was talking about bling loud and all of that. When it wasn't cool, they moved on to something else. As parents, please stay engaged with what your children watch, listen, and hear. Hold those people accountable. That includes us at V-103 and WAOK. BET, MTV, if it's not what you want your kids to watch, don't let them watch it. If it's not what you want them to hear, don't let them hear it. I know you can't be with your kids all day and they go to school and everybody got an iPod and all of that. I was more afraid of what my father would do to me than any rapper, any of my friends, anything out there. If you are a strong parent, you have to monitor what they do. If you teach them right from wrong from square one, they ain't no rapper out here that could be like, go do this. And my father's supposed to say, no, it ain't gonna happen. So you have to be a great parent. We have to be a village that raises a child. We have to get back to that. But no, if you support artists and music and movies that have images and voices that don't agree with how you want to raise your children or disagree with you, don't support them. They'll stop making them.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello, everyone. My name is Trayvon Martin, Financial Solutions. I do have two questions. A lot has been made about what should we do as a solution now and boycott in Florida. I want to ask these two questions. What do you think about us as a people who are banking in other organizations that are not black, moving our money from the Bank of Americas, such as Wells Fargo, over to the local banks like Citizens Trust, who I do bank at? Even our businesses, if not 100% of your money, at least 50 to 75%, okay? Capital City Bank as well too. What do you think about that and how that will affect, correct, what do you think about that and how that will affect the power structure and the demands that we have economically in our power? And then the next question is, as far as boycotting Florida, what do you think about our young kids who are young athletes, who are these 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, who all of these big schools are clamoring down to Florida to get? What if they, instead of using boycott, what if they prefer to go to a black institution like the Grambling, Florida University, and so forth and so on? Make those institutions, which are black institutions, or both of those, strong, so that we can then be able to exact the type of power that we want and need.
So if we decide we're going to put our money with various institutions and organizations that have our benefit in mind, that are owned and operated by us, then so be it. Nobody has the right to dictate to us. We dictate to ourselves. However, where self-determination comes from is a fabric that we have to weave in our community. It has been systematically attacked over the past 3 or 4 decades. We once mobilized in many different ways. One of my elders, I can get into more, just wrote a book called We Will Shoot Back, where he talked about strategies that we enacted in Mississippi in order to get some of these laws changed, in order to challenge voting rights laws and what have you. We took to the streets. We built organic movements built in the community. We didn't ask for permission from anybody. So brother, I'm with you. We can take our money, move it where we need to, how we need to, in our own service. So, yes.
What we want to do right now is, a lot of people have questions about stand your ground. And I want to bring up Senator Vincent Ford, who has something I think we all want to hear. So let's give him a round of applause as he comes.
Thank you, my brother. I do want to thank Reverend White and his wife for opening up the door to the church. We've already said that, but we need to do that again. Always know other people will not accept it. What I'm holding in my hand is a draft piece of legislation repealing Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. I'm going to tell you what people are going to tell you. They're going to say it has no chance of passing. Well, let me tell you one thing. If we don't fight, we know it will not pass. So
legislation through the same committee. I got hate crime legislation through the same committee. So we're not going to back down, back off, or back up at all. Come the second Monday of January at 10 a.m., we're going to demand of Governor Deal and the state legislature that they take up this legislation. By the way, this passed in 2006, the year after the Georgia Standing Ground legislation passed in 2006, a year after it passed in Florida. And I don't have the time to give you all the history of how that came to be, but we will be having further meetings specifically on the Standing Ground legislation review. Thank you for being here. The struggle continues.
If there are parents that are looking for mentors for their children, that's available today. You don't have to wait till the next meeting. We have people in the back that will sign you up today. I want to thank Rick Caffey, my boss, for letting us do this today. It took place in the span of 72 hours. So you got to stand up. They got to know your face. This is an ongoing movement. The next one, you're very welcome, will be about educating our youth and taking this next to Black Youth Parent University 101. A community workshop on bridging the gap in our youth education with teacher Keene Walker. I want to bring up somebody. I know we had one 6-year-old speak, but I want to bring up somebody. We had Senator Ford and Reverend Markel Hutchins and Derrick Boazman. But I'm going to bring up somebody you don't know, but you're going to know. Come here, Amber. I met Amber Hughes at the now defunct Turner Middle School. How many years ago? 5 years ago. You're now graduated now. I met her on the day that my best friend took his life. He left behind a wife and 3 children. That's how come I know the day I met Amber. Amber Hughes graduated from Frederick Douglass High School. She is the valedictorian. She is a scholar athlete who is still trying to decide where she wants to go to school because everybody wants her. She did not miss a day of school from kindergarten through 12th grade. Not one day. So if you're a kid out there, this is what you can do. I walk the walk. We are not playing. Everybody here tonight is serious about this. So, come here, young man in the front. Come here, let me tell you something. Come here. I love this boy more than I love breathing. I got a lot invested in him. I took that walk to the candy lady, to the store. That should not have happened. Every daddy with a son in here, you know what I'm talking about right now. Every mother that is also the father, you know what I'm talking about right now. This is not going to be a one and done. If you commit to coming, we'll commit to happening. We talked about mainstream. We talked about what everybody is saying. We're going to end on this. I'm going to bring up the reason I added Ivory to the show because she can talk about anything with anyone. You've been watching on CNN. You've been watching on HLN. She can go toe-to-toe with anybody. You cannot see this individual, but I want you to hear what he is saying, that a lot of people are not saying that they are saying, but they are.
Zero. You want to know how many of them were personally mentioned by the White House? Zero. You want to know how many of them were ever referred to as somebody who could be the son of Barack Obama? Zero. Why is that? Why is the 700 black teens killed in Chicago less important than the one black teenager killed in Sanford, Florida? I'll tell you why. Because we talk about the 700 black teens killed in Chicago, we're not going to polarize blacks against whites in this country. We're not going to keep blacks and whites fighting this imaginary battle that distracts us from the government whose sole purpose it is to screw us both. If we talk about the 700 blacks killed in Chicago, we're not going to generate billions of dollars in ad revenues for the news stations. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take for Americans to forget about Trayvon Martin? Is it going to be 2 pitches into the All-Star game tonight? Is it going to be 15 seconds after Kate Middleton has her baby? I mean, all the people who Facebooked and tweeted the night that the verdict came out, how angry they were that a young black man was killed and he didn't get justice. You think those people are going to head down to Chicago? You think they're going to hand out pamphlets and protest in the street? Of course not, because they don't care about the death of young black kids. They don't even care about the death of Trayvon Martin. They tweet about Trayvon Martin the same way they tweet about the Super Bowl or the freaking Oscars, and then they move on with their lives. I mean, one black teenager killed in Sanford, Florida is a tragedy. 700 black teenagers killed in Chicago is a freaking epidemic. If we were so concerned about justice for one, why are we unconcerned about justice for all? I mean, I don't freaking get it. I don't freaking get it. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Woo! Okay, so now I have a phone call. Do you want to come on and talk to this fool? And which I said yes. But here's the problem. I saw some of you shaking your heads like he was right. Right? Because some of it you felt like, oh, he was right about that. What are we doing about Chicago? But before you react, you need to listen, get your facts together, and then deal with this foolishness. Okay? So the reason why there isn't the attention on Chicago is because a black life isn't important until a white person is involved in it. Okay? That is the reason why this case is on the news right now. That means that every vote is totally in their hands. So if they don't want to just stand their ground, they will change it. But then what happens when it comes time for a gubernatorial election? Nobody goes to vote. Shame on you then. Don't come complaining to me. I voted in every election. School board, tax commissioner, water guy, rates go up, whatever. I vote. And if you're not going to do that, then don't complain about it. Then they'll be stand your ground right here in Georgia. It'll be your son. His name will be whatever his name is. And then you'll come to one of these, and you'll want to tell your story. But we can't do anything if we don't have the laws to change it. So then this guy's name is Drinking with Bob. That's the name of his blog, Drinking with Bob. And this fool is telling us about what we need to do in our own community. I don't get it. I mean, so then he says, all of a sudden, this Trayvon Martin case has brought up this new term called white Hispanic. I never heard a thing about that before, white Hispanic. Well, I'm a black Hispanic. I've heard white Hispanic my whole life. Because in the Hispanic culture, there's just as much racism as the fight that we have against each other for light skin and dark skin. So I have to say to him, guess what? Maybe you are limited exposure and you're staying inside of your own community and never want to learn anything else makes it so that you've never heard white Hispanic. So let me teach you. To which of course he said, why are you being so condescending? I said, no, see, that's another thing you love to do. When we know more than you, we're condescending. So I just want to say that I'm going to be condescending every day on CNN. And I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, but I can't just do it by myself. So get some education. Just one day, do something different and learn something more so that when we do this next one, there's a whole bunch more people registered to vote. A whole bunch more people who know about the General Assembly. A whole bunch more people that can come on and tell a fool to sit down.
There are several groups in the program that you can sign up with today. And Amber just told me she is ranked #1 in the state in the 100-meter hurdles. And that she has made that choice. Her track coach is behind me, and he can stand up here as her mentor and her coach. She will be going to Tennessee State University. Parents, please sign up in the back for our mentors at the long table. We want everybody to get home safely, and we will talk to you in the morning at 6 a.m. on the Ryan Cameron Morning Show. Thank you very much, and good night.